How many damn times will you just go through the cycle of watching pornography, thinking, why the hell can't I stop, and then concluding that you're broken, and then thinking, might as well not, and then watching pornography all over again, after that feeling like absolute shit later, and then having these thoughts that you are not worth it, that you have low self esteem, that you cannot control anything in your life. And this thinking is exactly what's keeping you trapped, because you are not addicted to pornography, you are not trapped by pornography, but instead by this cycle of shame and relapse and guilt, which is what's keeping you trapped. People think that relapse makes you weak, but it doesn't. Relapse is simply a relapse. It's nothing else. It's a slip in the path that you're walking. The path is going to be slightly long, right? So it doesn't matter if you have one slip, but it matters if you get back up. And thinking that relapse means I'm a failure is what creates the shame loop and the guilt. And this is what fuels the escapism, which is why you're using pornography to begin with. When you interpret pornography, when you interpret the slip in a certain way, you don't just feel, you think that you are not worth it, that this is pointless, that you can go back to pornography again, that you will never be able to control anything in your life. And this is exactly the kind of thinking which is keeping you trapped. The urge is simply a data. The slip was simply feedback. The suffering came from the story you told yourself about it. You're not broken, you are looping. So why should you trust me? Well, hi, I'm Vansh, and I was someone who was addicted to pornography for over 9 years, and I quit, and I've been free for over 1.5. Quitting gave me the confidence to stop being someone who was just constantly looking for escapism, constantly looking to escape, not having built any emotional resilience, but instead quitting gave me the confidence to start working out, to get girls, to improve my physique, to improve my jawline, to improve many other things in my life, including my grades. And this has been one of the best things that I've done. It has given me time, it has given me freedom, it has given me freedom not just in my actions but also in my thinking, which is so important, as you'll realize by watching this video. Same with Glenn, who's my client from UK, who through my coaching went from someone who was having problems with pornography, with self-esteem and everything else, to someone who quitted it during his A-level exams, which are exams which determine which college, which university he will go to. So much like people think, quitting didn't make his life harder during that time, but instead it made it easier, because when you go about quitting the right damn way, it becomes easier to quit pornography rather than it becoming harder. Same with Rehan. Rehan was someone who was very shy, very anxious, barely could talk to anyone, including girls, just used to nut and watch pornography every single day for an hour at least. And he went on to become someone who improved his grades. He became clear about the priorities in his life. He has now become a national level junior golfer, and he's competing, I believe, in a week from now too. So I'm very proud of him. I'm very proud of Ben, and I'm very proud of myself too. And you can be one of these case studies. You can be one of these examples of someone who drastically changes his life from not just quitting pornography but also getting the freedom, the time, the simple identity of no longer being in chains, and you can benefit from that if you want. And this all can be done if you change the way that you interpret, that you think about pornography, and stop having self-limiting beliefs relating to it. One of the ways that people justify their current predicament is by saying that I've been using it for years now, I am hopeless, I cannot do anything, I might as well just continue to use it. And this is absolutely false. You used to piss your pants for years, you used to watch baby shows for years, you used to eat lots of sweet, and probably you've reduced it by now, right? And so change is possible, but this change happened because you had a learned behavior and then you unlearned it or saw little to no value in it, because you started reducing the brainwashings, the beliefs that you had around it, and started questioning them. If you do the same for pornography, you will also get the same freedom associated with it. So again, you used to piss yourself, you used to watch baby shows, used to throw tantrums. Now you don't do any of these things because the brain learns habits, but it can also unlearn them. Anything which the brain learns can also be unlearned. I'm repeating myself, so you learn it. So thinking that the past is your future will kill your self-efficacy, will kill the way that you see yourself, will kill any potential that you have inside of you. The past is simply the past. It can tell you what happened in the past, but it is not something which determines the future. You, the present moment, is who determines the future. So because you never give your brain the chance to grow because of the past thinking, you never give yourself the ability to grow. Growth is not about perfection. You could have been imperfect in the past, but it's about giving yourself a damn choice to get to perfection, so you start growing to get closer to perfection. And you cannot do that if you do not give yourself a damn chance. That's all you need. If you just continuously go with beliefs that, oh no, pornography is something which is holding me back because of my genes, it's something which is holding me back because I have anxiety or I have low willpower, all of these are self-limiting beliefs. Thousands of people with far, far worse conditions, whether it be mental or in terms of substance addiction, have quit. Years and years, decades even of addiction have been quitted by them. So why is it you who cannot do it? They have been in far worse areas and they have done it, so why can't you? If you proceed to go drink that seawater, you may think that your health, your thirst may get better, but it won't. Seawater will make your health worse because God knows what kinds of bacteria are there. It's freaking green, you don't know what it contains, it probably has a lot of salt, so you will get even more thirsty and it will not help you. Pornography is that seawater. It isn't the real solution to your problem. The solution to your problem is finding actual water and then drinking it. So, what you realize is that when people say that porn helps me cope, it isn't true because it's the only thing you're currently using. The only thing that you have used as of yet is seawater. And coping for your emotions is not the same as solving the problem. You are trying to solve for the immediate rather than thinking, actively thinking rather than just running away from your thoughts. You need to think whether this will actually help. Will it not? Then you are not supposed to use it. Even if you want to just fix your emotions, that's the thing that you want to do. Pornography will not help because you need to see what's causing the emotion in the first place. For example, someone may have stress because they haven't talked to someone about something uncomfortable, right? And so what a person may see is that, oh no, I have stress and hence I need to take care of that stress, so they may go to pornography. But that won't work. The stress will just worsen because you haven't fixed the inherent problem. So what you need to do instead is figure out why and what is causing the stress and how can you fix it. How is particularly important. So you start writing out like, okay, I'll talk to this person, I'll start with that, I'll maybe give them a little massage so they're in a good mood. And then when you talk to them, you will find out that they are very amicable. You will find out that they are willing to talk and that the problem is fixed in like 30 minutes. And now all of a sudden that anxiety is gone. Are you getting the point? So when you're trying to cope for your emotions, you aren't solving the problem. When you solve the problem, you aren't just solving the problem, but also the emotions. So why aren't you solving the problem? That's what you need to do. Porn prevents you from doing that because it blunts your emotional signal temporarily and it makes you think that the problem is solved only temporarily. But after like 30 minutes or even like 15 minutes, you will remember the problem and you will again have to deal with that throughout the day, which is not a very fun thing to do. So it also prevents skill building because you're just wasting your time watching pornography and you think that, okay, the problem's solved, I don't need to do anything else. Same with connection. It prevents you from having connection inside of your life because pornography promotes isolation. Because pornography promotes isolation. It promotes a lack of social abilities because because pornography promotes because pornography promotes isolation. It prevents you from building social skills. It prevents you from going out towards people. It prevents you from being authentic. It decreases your confidence and whatnot. So and overall it rewards avoidance, escapism, which is not something which is useful for a good life. Things like those temporarily are good, like reading TV. Things like those can be good in the very, very, very short term, but they are never something which can help you, never something which will help you in the long term. So loneliness, your stress, anything will not be solved by fixing. So loneliness or stress or anything else which you're feeling will not be solved by pixels on the damn screen, will not be cured by escapism, they will be solved by action. Now that you've realized that, how will you go about it? So if you look at this, so if you look at this, you will see that everyone has problems, right? And when people have problems, they of course want to solve them. So the brain sees that, okay, there's stress. Stress could mean any negative emotion for this So the brain has problems, right? The brain perceives problem and it's its job to fix them. So of course it gives you some level of stress in this context right now means grief, sadness, anger, anxiety, anything which is telling you that, hey, I don't like this, fix it. So what the brain tries to do with short-term coping, because back then we didn't have any short-term coping, the only short-term cope was the long-term thinking, which is actually solving the problem. But anyways, what the brain tries to do is EBC, or emotion-based coping. This is the true problem which is keeping you trapped. It's going to drugs, alcohol, weed, porn, YouTube reels, anything which fuels escapism. And the problem with this is that it doesn't fix the problem, it adds new one. So let's say everything with the job and the girlfriend and the homework, all of that just continues to get worse, and instead it increases, right? Same with adding new problems like pornography or addiction. And this is another problem that you will have to deal with now. So what's the solution? The solution is to now different solutions, now different problems require. Now there are different solutions, of course, for different problems. If you're insecure about being weak, then of course you go to the gym, you go to the weightlifting room. But if you want to improve your self-efficacy, so what someone needs to do instead to fix that is SPC, or solution-based coping, which is basically solving for the solution, solving the inherent problem which is causing you the stress rather than solving the inherent problem which is causing you the stress rather than looking at the emotions, right? And so you can do this by the RAID method, which basically means that you refocus. You stop focusing on the stress inherently, but instead on what's causing the stress, which means you start seeing the true problem. You analyze and see the general problem and the patterns of it, and then you can identify the specific problems, how to solve it, and then you just do it. You kill the problem, and hence you no longer have any sadness, you no longer have any grief about it, because you just continuously improved it and you have decreased your problems, right? It's pretty simple. For example, with homework, what you may want to do is understand that homework is not the inherent stressor. Homework is not the thing which you are running away from, but instead what you need to do is figure out what in the homework is something that you need to do. So for example, in this one, it's math. What in math? It's trigonometry. Which exercise do you need to do? 1A to 13B. You do that, you fail at 10, right? And so you understand why. You see why you failed at 10, and you see, okay, I didn't do this, I didn't have the right equation, I applied the wrong equation here, something else like that. So you start taking notes about that, right? You start identifying the specific problems and the solutions associated with it. You do that next time. Now you fail at only 3 of them, and then you do it again, and then you fail at 0 of them or have 100% success. Are you getting that? The way you solve the problem is by continuously just hammering away at it, and it's easier than you think. And it's easier than you think. It may be a little time consuming, but that's what it is. So what you get as a result is pride. It's a baseline level of self-esteem, and the same method applies for any complex problem. So for example, you have problems with insecurity about being weak, so you go to the gym to fix. You go to the weight room, you lift some weights, pretty simple, right? But that will improve your self-efficacy overall, but it's a bonus and not solving the main thing. So why do you go towards the dentist for a heart problem, or why do you go to the gym for pornography or to meditation or anything else? What you need to do specifically is figure out the inherent reason as to why you're using pornography. There are some brainwashings that have been introduced into your system, which are the reasons that you're using pornography. And when you start addressing them, you will find out that these are self-limiting beliefs which can easily be gotten rid of. And this is what I'm going to address next. Hey, before we get further into the video, I want to make sure that you like and subscribe and comment, because it will help other people find the video and actually help them get towards freedom like you are doing so right now. There's also a course which is in pre-sale right now. So if you're interested in that, because the price will only continue to get higher, then there's the link in the description below. So you may be thinking that these self-limiting beliefs are pretty hard to overcome. They're practically brainwashing society, Nofap, and so many other people have told me that lust is hard to overcome. You have genes that prevent you from doing this. And these are all, again, brainwashings, which when you start questioning them are pretty easy to just delete, right? And so when you start doing that, you will find out that they are pretty easy to overcome. For example, most of your self-limiting beliefs do one of four things. The first is that they externalize responsibility. It's evolution, it's psychology, it's the brain, but not me. I am just someone who is affected by them, which is not true. Every single time that you use it, you are choosing it because you see benefits in it. That's another problem which you can easily fix. The second thing which thoughts do is that they make autonomy, which is saying that they tell you that you have no control over this, you have no power over this, you are not self-capable enough to do or fix this, right? I don't have a choice, I'm weak. The social media companies, developers were using LSD when programming this. They know the deepness of the human psychology. Even something as the colors and whatnot that they use are preventing me from stopping this social media addiction, this porn addiction and whatnot. And so some bullshit like that will also be told to you. Same with thoughts which undermine your incompetence. They will say you're weak, you can't do anything like that, you are someone who hasn't done that. And these can all easily be overcome. Same with shame, which I already covered previously. So all of these, when they come together in this unholy matrimony, they just trap you in this guilt-based regulation where the only thing that's preventing you from doing bad things, the only thing that's preventing you from doing good things also is guilt. Guilt about your past actions, like, oh, you nutted 5 times that day, clearly you can't overcome this day, you might as well nut now, you weakling, or some crap like that. So the shame-driven, rule-following, empty progress about Nofap, about streaks and whatnot doesn't work, because it just works on not an inherent desire to quit, not based on truth or reality, but instead on guilt, on not understanding that you are a free individual who makes his own choices, right? And that's why this kind of motivation, just white knuckling or using willpower, always breaks. What takes your power isn't porn, but you instead giving it because of emotional coping and brainwashings which justify it. You are not weak. Your brain is just running a shitty mental software. So you can easily just change that. Now your brain will give you self-limiting beliefs about pornography, about what it does to you, right? So for example, you may know some basic ass things about pornography, like, oh, it hurts my brain, like gray matter or delta phosphate, or it makes you more aggressive. I don't care about that. These are things which your brain even doesn't care about. It cares about more the immediate consequences of it. It wants immediate pleasure, right? So it may give you some reasons like concentration, it increases your concentration or something, it's like that. But because you know about the brain matter thingy, about the gray matters and whatnot, you know that concentration isn't actually increased by pornography. So you understand that that's actually a con. Even if it doesn't improve concentration, it's only a short-term boost, not a long-term thingy, like, let's say, cold showers consistently, or working out, or mindfulness like meditation and whatnot. So these, if you actually optimize for concentration, that would be better. Same with stress relief. It increases your stress because you consistently have problems with shame, with guilt and whatnot. So it doesn't really help you with that, does it? Same with education. If you wanted to actually learn about sexuality and whatnot, read a damn book. It will be far better, because pornography is fake. It's based on people who are getting surgeries for it. It's based on people who are mooning fakely. It's based on people who use color grading and positions which are not optimized for pleasure of both parties, but instead for what looks better on camera. So if you actually want to learn how to pleasure someone, how to actually have a good relationship with your partner, read a book or two, sure, about sexuality and whatnot, but also about emotions and how you can understand your partner's emotions and how you can placate them, how you can have good communication. Those things are arguably more important, because you will learn it with time. That's the only thing I'll say. Same with some emotional beliefs like pornography is a friend. These are beliefs which pornography tells you, like, oh bro, I'm your friend, it helps you, it does this for you, it does that, blah blah blah. And these are 99.9% of the times false. So why are you listening to them? Has pornography ever helped you? Has it given you shame? Has it given you guilt? Has it given you brain damage? So why are you listening to it? It's not a friend. It's a toxic abuser. So the same with thinking that it harms no one. It harms you. You matter. So why aren't you taking that into account? It will harm your future marriage. It will harm your friendships. It will harm your future prospects, because guess what? You will be less confident and whatnot. Same with things like, I have low willpower. That's false. Willpower is an idea based on research all the way from the 1960s, which is what, about 85 years old now? It's almost a century now. And that research has never been replicated, so they never got the same results again when other people try to replicate the research. And the second thing is, people use this kind of belief because they want to justify their mediocrity. They want to tell themselves that, okay, I worked for like 4 hours, I'm done, now I want to watch my TV. But damn, my wife and whatever need to be convinced. So I will say some bull crap about I have low willpower, I need to rejuvenate my willpower, this, that, blah, blah, blah. This is all bullshit. If you look into actual willpower, you will find out that the willpower isn't based on a limited level of willpower which just fuses out throughout the day, but instead your mindfulness about it, your awareness of the present moment. Because if you are just worried about the next 100 steps after which you think you will fall, you will fall. But if you just focus on this step, this moment, this micro instance right here, then you will realize that, okay, can I take another step? Yes. Then you ask yourself that again, can I take another step again? Yes. Then you ask yourself that again and again and again and again until you've taken 1000 steps. And that's the power that you have. At the end of the day, when you start doing this, you will realize that there's no benefits to using pornography, and you will have a far easier time resisting it, because inherently you realize that, it's not really giving me anything beyond the nut, and the nut is just offered by masturbation. So why am I watching it? And so you will actually start to question it, and this will become way, way easier now. So this is a question: which of these brain parts are you? For example, I told you that the brain will give you logical things, like it increases your willpower, it increases your concentration, it does this, it does that, blah blah blah. Or it will tell you some emotional things, emotional lies like it's my friend, it harms no one. Or it will tell you some reptilian or the primal brain lies, which is like, I have low willpower, I have to get resources back again, I have to do this, oh my god, so many women, blah blah blah. But these are all just your brain patterns, right? So which one of these brain patterns is you? Which one of part of the brain is you right now? It's a trick question, and these are all your brain parts, but you are not them. You are the consciousness. Imagine that the thoughts of yours are like a character in a video game. You are the person who is holding the controller. You are the person who is making sure that the character does whatever you wish that he wants. You are the consciousness who controls your thoughts, who controls the organs to a certain extent, like the heart or stomach. You are the one who is the master of the body. The brain at the end of the day is simply an organ. Much like the heart is beating or the stomach is digesting, the brain thinks, but it's your job as the observer to see whether these thoughts, whether these thinking patterns are actually useful to you. And if they're not, you just simply get rid of them. People have these thoughts of shame or stress, right? And these thoughts, just because you ruminate about them, because you interact with them, they grow and grow and grow. But when you start breaking them down, when you start seeing that, shame and stress are some things which are simply bodily reactions, which are simply something, it doesn't actively affect me, then you start realizing that it doesn't have much power over you. So what you start having are thoughts about that I learned about stress, I learned about winning, I learned about stress and shame, and hence these things don't have much control over me. And so when you start thinking like this, you will of course win. So here's a powerful example of interpretation and how much it can change your life. For example, you have 5 minutes before a speech, right? You're just sitting there, you don't know what's going to happen, so you all of a sudden start getting these bodily reactions. For example, your pupils start dilating, your heart starts beating faster, your breath becomes uneven. And so you can interpret this in 2 ways. The first is that you can think that, okay, I have all of these symptoms because I have these bodily reactions because I have not prepared well, and hence I'm going to fail. So this would mean something like, my pupils are dilating because I feel threatened. My hands and legs are shaking because I haven't prepared well and I know that I will fall on stage or something. My breath is uneven because I don't know what to do. When you start having thoughts like this, you are interpreting the bodily state. The bodily state is simply the bodily state. It doesn't matter to emotions. The emotions don't matter to it. But what emotions can do is amplify them, right? So if you actively start interpreting them in a positive manner, you will have better results. For example, you may think that my heart is beating faster because I'm excited and I know that I will conquer this shit. Because my breath is uneven, so I can get oxygen, and that oxygen will travel all the way through my body because I will perform better. My brain is trying to help me, my body is trying to help me. My pupils are dilating so I can make eye contact and see the audience well and know that I'm making a difference in their lives. When you start thinking shit like this, when you start approaching it and interpreting it in a positive way, you will of course make better progress compared to this guy right here. Your thoughts don't control you, Thoughts simply offer interpretations about what's happening right now, whether it be inside of your body, whether it be outside of your body. So if you think that I have to quit or I am a failure, is that really true, or is that a bad script offered to you by someone else and your brain is just regurgitating these thoughts? Your brain is simply something which forms pathways on what you do repeatedly. Just like muscles grow with exercise, your habits grow with repetition. But if you don't train the muscles, your muscles shrink. And yes, your brain pathways can shrink too when you consistently choose newer actions, preferably better actions. So much like speech stutter, your brain's inherent thought can be, okay, it's danger, because you have trained it like that previously. But if you start reinterpreting it, it's not danger, it's my hand and my legs shaking with excitement because I know I'm going to crush it, then you start reducing the anxiety, you start reducing the negative interpretation, and your brain is starting to change, it's starting to shrink those anxiety based pathways, right? And so you have to decide what it means. Autonomy starts with saying, this is my life and I choose how I act, not how I feel. So much like someone can feel like shit but still go to the gym, not waiting to feel ready, but instead doing it regardless of whether you feel ready, is what will get you to action, to the right place, to freedom. Now, if you look at this, society and everyone else, it will just promote this consumerism, this passivity, this weakness, this mediocrity inside of your brain. They will tell you to have a break, have a Kit Kat, to eat this big ass meal which doesn't inherently satisfy you but instead leaves you hungrier. Same with live, laugh, love. This is a shit way to live life because you're not contributing to anyone, you're not contributing to yourself, you're not making yourself stronger, you're not developing yourself. So it isn't really a fun way to live. Same with watching bullshit shows every single day. Same with watching bullshit shows every single day which don't improve your life but instead worsen it because you could be doing something else which you deep down know you won't do, but you are slightly scared to do it, something which matters to you. For example, an art or a practice of, let's say, martial arts or the instrument or painting or anything else like that which matters to you. So again, your society, your culture, your parents, your friends, they are all obsessed with consumerism, with comfort, with passiveness because of the promotion of it. And these people aren't evil, but they are mediocre, and this is why if you follow them, you will also end up like them, mediocre. And these are all self-limiting beliefs which you again need to overcome. And you can overcome this by journaling, by firstly understanding that, when you start writing down these things that, okay, my parents said this, is this actually true? Is this actually based on science? You will realize that it's not. The same with your urges and whatnot. If you start reinterpreting the urge, for example, for you, it could be a tightness in your throat. It could be slightly jittery hands. It could be looking down and here and there and whatnot. This could be the way that the urge manifests, the thoughts of watching pornography manifest in your head. When you start get back to, when you do mindfulness, when you have presence in the present moment and you get to the present moment by some exercises, for example, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique, which is basically taking a deep breath, and seeing the 5 things around you, the 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. And when you start noticing them and realize that you're in the present moment, nothing is threatening you, these are all just thoughts in your head and they don't control you, you will have far more power over your body, over your mind, over everything else. And last thing I would say is, when these thoughts come, the first is of course getting back to the present moment, but then reminding yourself of your past achievements. So have a list of things that you've done positively, of things that you take pride in, of things that were hard and you overcame them. For example, studying for 4 hours or something else like that. And when you start writing them down, which would have seemed impossible to your past self, and just review the list every few days, you will have this cookie jar that you can just constantly take whenever things get hard, and you can just go into that cookie jar in your mind and think, I don't need to be ashamed, I don't need to be guilty, I have been changing my life, I've been free for 100 days, I have done 1000 days previously or something else like that. And when you start thinking that, pornography doesn't really hold that much power because it's based on breaking you down by giving you negative thoughts and bullshit beliefs. And when you start breaking them down, it doesn't have that much power over you. Now, the last thing I'll say is that you have been lied to, you've been mentally sabotaged, you've been misled. But here's what's true. You are not a slave to your urges. You are not your past. You are not far too gone if you choose to not be. There's unlimited potential in the future, and all you need to do is grasp it. This isn't your fault that you got into it, but it is your responsibility to fix it. Every second that you spend justifying is another second that you could be changing. So I'll ask you, what are you waiting for? a slip that you did, an urge that happened, doesn't matter. The choice is what matters. Did you choose to be better? Did you choose to break down that urge? Did you choose to not interact with it? Did you choose to understand that, it's just brain patterns and they're dying? And when you start doing this, you can make a different one right now. So I hope this video helped you. This is a basic summary framework which you can use to understand and improve yourself. You can just read that by pausing it. And lastly, if you're interested, there's coaching which I'm offering right now. I've helped multiple people right now, and I can also help you, like for example Ben and Rehan, and I can help you actually overcome this and drastically better your life. The course is currently priced at $49.99. I will be increasing the price later. It's on pre-sale right now. So what I will be doing is having a 30-40 minute conversation with you and just understanding your true problems, give you some basic advice as to how to overcome them, and also I will be addressing them in depth in the course too. So if you want that, then the price is $49.99. The course link is in the description below, and that's all. Cheers.